All right, let's dive right in. Every business on the planet wants to know one thing. Are we winning? How do we measure success? It seems like a simple question, but here's the twist. Get it wrong, and you could be setting yourself up for failure without even knowing it.
I mean, just think about that. What if your company's #1 most important success metric was actually secretly encouraging your best people to fail? It sounds crazy, right? Well, that's exactly the puzzle we're going to piece together today.
So, let's start at the beginning. This whole thing kicks off with what you might call a good problem to have. A company starts growing. It gets bigger, more complex, and pretty soon it's just impossible for the CEO or the top brass to make every single decision. They just can't be everywhere at once.
So, what do? Well, they decentralize. They start handing off decision-making power to managers down the line, letting them run their own shows. And this is totally necessary. It's how you stay fast and flexible. But, and this is a big but, there's a hidden danger lurking in this very smart strategy.
And here it is, the heart of the problem. What makes one division look like a rock star might actually be terrible for the company as a whole. See, if your bonus is tied to your division's numbers, you're going to do what's best for you, right? And that can lead to choices that look great on your report card, but quietly damage the bigger picture. The official term for this? Dysfunctional decisions. And they happen all the time.
Okay, so how do you stop that from happening? For literally decades, the business world had an answer. A go-to metric to keep all those managers pulling in the same direction. I guarantee you've heard of it. It's the old guard, the classic ROI.
Yep, return on investment. It's so simple, so elegant. You just take the profit you made and divide it by the money you invested to get that profit. Easy. A bigger percentage is better. It just makes sense, doesn't it? It feels so right. Except, as we're about to find out, this seemingly perfect number has a fatal flaw.
And this is where things get really interesting. We've arrived at what's known as the ROI trap. We're going to see with cold, hard numbers how this metric that everyone trusts can trick a perfectly smart, well-intentioned manager into making a really, really bad call.
All right, let's stop talking theory and make this concrete. Let's look at a case study. Imagine you're the manager of Division X at some big company. You're doing great. Your division is successful, and your performance, your bonus, everything, it's all judged by one number, your division's ROI.
Okay, let's lay out the scene. First up, your division has $10 million in assets. Buildings, equipment, the whole shebang. That's the I in our ROI formula. And right now, you're bringing in a cool $2.2 million in profit every year. So, if we do the quick math, 2.2 million divided by 10 million, that gives you an ROI of 22%. Not bad at all. You're looking good.
Now, one last piece of the puzzle, and this one is super important. The mothership, the main company, has what's called a cost of capital of 10%. Think of this as their hurdle rate. For the company to create any real value, any new project must earn more than this 10%. So, you're sitting at your desk and a proposal lands in front of you. It's a fantastic opportunity. You can invest $1 million of the company's money, and in return, you'll get an extra $150,000 in profit every single year.
Okay, let's pause and think this through. You invest $1 million, you get $150K back. That's a 15% return. The company's hurdle rate is 10%. So 15 is bigger than 10. This is a slam dunk for the company, right? It creates value. So obviously, you, the manager, you're going to sign off on this, right?
But hold on. You're judged on your ROI, so you run the numbers for yourself. Before, you were the hero with a 22% ROI. After you take this project, your profit goes up to $2.35 million, but your investment base goes up to $11 million. And your new ROI, it actually drops to 21.4%. Whoa!
And that right there is the trap. If your job, your bonus, your reputation is all about keeping that ROI percentage as high as possible, are you going to take on a project that makes it go down, even a little bit? Probably not. And just like that, you reject a project that was good for the company. The very metric meant to guide you just led you to make a dysfunctional decision.
So if ROI is broken, what's the fix? Well, thankfully, we're not stuck. There is a much smarter way to look at this. It's a metric called residual income.
Okay, so what is residual income, or RI? The big difference is it's not a percentage. It's a straight-up dollar amount. Here's how it works. You take your profit, and then you subtract a charge for the capital you're using.
Think of it like paying rent on the company's money. That rent is just your total investment times that 10% cost of capital we talked about.
So let's hit rewind and run our scenario again, but this time using RI. Before the project, your RI was $1.2 million. Now, if you accept that new project, yes, your profit goes up and your rent or capital charge goes up too. But look what happens to the final number. Your residual income increases to $1.25 million. Suddenly, the choice is clear. Taking the good project makes your number go up. Your goals and the company's goals are perfectly aligned. Problem solved.
But not so fast. ROI is definitely a huge step up from ROI, no question. But there's still a risk in putting all your eggs in one basket, in relying on any single financial number. Why? Because it can still encourage short-term thinking. It can make managers want to sweat old, outdated assets because they have a low capital charge. It just doesn't capture the full picture of what makes a business truly healthy for the long run.
And that brings us to the modern answer, the way that the most successful companies think about this today. It's an approach that understands that success isn't just one number. It's called the balanced scorecard.
The whole idea behind the balanced scorecard is that you can't just stare at the financial reports. You need a 360-degree view. It forces you to look at performance from 4 different angles. Yeah, there's the financial part, of course, but you also have to ask, how do our customers see us? How good are our internal processes? And crucially, are we set up for the future with innovation and learning?
This example from a college makes it super clear. For financials, they track revenue. Okay, makes sense. For customers, they track student satisfaction. For internal stuff, they track how many new courses they're developing. And for innovation, they track staff training hours. But here's the magic. See how it all connects? More staff training leads to better courses. Better courses lead to happier students. And happier students lead to more revenue. It's a complete cause and effect chain that drives real success.
So when you boil it all down, this is a huge shift in how we think about performance. The old way, just looking at one number like ROI, it's like driving while only looking in the rearview mirror. It tells you what just happened, but gives you zero clue why or where you should go next. The balanced scorecard is like having a full dashboard. It's a holistic, long-term view that doesn't just tell you the score, it gives you a roadmap for how to win the game.
It all comes back to that classic business saying, what gets measured, gets done. It's so true. Whatever numbers you put on a pedestal, that's what your people are going to chase. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What are you measuring? And are you absolutely sure it's what really, truly matters?